So with Wholistic Natural Health Australia, what we actually do is we look at root cause. So not what you're sick with now, but what started it. And we treat that. So it's really based on terrain theory, on cleaning the terrain, which is your body, and supporting that terrain so that it can fight off a pathogen or whatever is coming, a parasite, whatever is attacking you, causing illness. So yeah, we really look at root cause and try and turn it around. And, you know, sometimes that root cause can be an adverse childhood experience, or, you know, maybe it's some other form of trauma. These things change the way our body react to things.
Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Listen to the Vibes, and I have here Magic Barclay, and she is a holistic healer. And so we're going to get to know her and have a great conversation. And before we do that, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh my gosh, what would you like to know? I'm a crazy cat lady, I'm a gardener, and I'm a mum, and I'm a business owner and podcaster.
Pretty sweet. Well, I guess I'm the crazy cat guy, and I'm a dad, and I do a podcast. I don't know if you'd call this a business, but, you know, kind of like a business. So what got you into holistic healing?
My own health journey, really, you know, coming down to being told that you've got a year to live if you don't do something. It's kind of freaky. And the modern medicine model kept letting me down. You know, it's great for some people, but for me, it wasn't. And so I really started looking at how could I heal myself? How could I look at what the body was really telling me rather than just treat the diagnosis or the symptoms?
Can you go into details, or would you rather not?
No, I can go into details. So I had stage 4 cancer. I had Lyme disease. I was told I had diabetes. I had a number of other things, but things had been going on for years. And every time I went to my GPs, they told me I was crazy, I was attention seeking, I was making it up, you know, all this kind of thing. I was going through a nasty divorce at the same time. So, you know, they were just like, you're just stressed. There's nothing wrong, it's just stress. Like, you know, because stress doesn't kill people. But anyway, so I felt really dismissed. And it wasn't till I changed cities and actually found a GP that listened to me. A young guy, absolutely fabulous, like, you know, first year in practice. And he goes, no, I believe you. Let's do some tests. I think something's wrong. And when we found what it was, he said, this has been going on for a while. And I said, yeah, no one listened to me. So then getting my diagnosis of stage 4 cancer, I was like, well, it didn't just start at stage 4, you know, it had been there for a while. And so then I had to look at, what am I doing next? I can't just treat the way I feel. I can't treat the symptoms, and I can't just go, well, it's stage 4 cancer, so there's a blanket treatment. So I really started looking at what there was, what was available, and what my body was telling me, which was what I'd been told for years to blank out. You know, like, don't listen to your body. We're not listening to you. Like, you know, all this information that could have been actioned earlier that wasn't. So I had to jump in and do something.
Wow. It kind of sounds familiar, because when I was married the first time, remember there were times where I'd feel this pain in my chest, and it would make me actually kind of bow over. And I think my wife just thought I was being stupid, you know. And then I was getting to where I was tired all the time, and then getting lethargic. And I remember I was drinking a beer and I'll get a headache. So I'm like, well, maybe I need to just quit drinking beer for a little bit. So I put it away, and I still wasn't feeling better. And then there was one day I said, you know, maybe it is since I'm working nights and I sleep in, maybe I need to get up early and start doing something around the house, and you know, get my energy level up. Anyway, I started cleaning the house, and then I got really, really tired where I had to go lay down. I went back to sleep, and I didn't wake up until it was time to go to work. And I'm driving to work, and it was almost a euphoric feeling. That's the only way to describe it. Almost like I was high or something. And I got to work, and I remember telling my buddy, I'm like, I don't feel real good, but I don't want to lose my overtime. I'm going to stick it out. So since my crew's the only one working in the evening, I went in to go talk to my boss and get the work for the night. And then all of a sudden, it sounded like he was fading away. Like I could hardly hear him. And then all of a sudden, I'm going into a tunnel, and they said my eyes rolled back in my head, and I couldn't catch my breath, and my heart's hurting. And luckily, the ambulance service was right next door to our public works, and they come rushing in, and they got me stable and got me the nitroglycerin, got me to the hospital. And apparently I was going into cardiac arrest, but my blood sugar had spiked like really, really high. I think it was over 600. And when they did the tests, my triglycerides were 1,500. And the doctor's like, I don't know how you're still alive. And I said, Doc, it's because mean people don't die.
And that story just shows us there were signs early on. Mm-hmm. And we're taught to ignore those. And this is what I don't comprehend in any form of medicine. If you ignore those whispers, they become screams, as my mentor, Dr. Stuart Gillespie, says. Those whispers are there. So that fatigue, that driving fatigue, that I don't feel quite right, I'm getting a headache. None of that needs to be ignored. It's not like we need to be running scared of symptoms, but we do need to listen to them. We need to go, do you know what? My gut doesn't feel quite right. I feel bloated, or I feel gassy, or I've got a headache, or God, I'm tired. Like, why? We need to really say, that's not okay. It's telling me something. Now I need to listen. And I think, we're just told, cover it up, take an antihistamine, or take an aspirin, or, take a Tylenol, or whatever it is, cover it up, don't listen to it. And I think that's where we really need to change what we're doing.
Oh, you ain't lying. And, I was only 36 when that happened. And as soon as I got out of the hospital, my wife ran off with a younger guy.
Oh, damn.
I was just having all the luck then. Actually, it ended up being the best thing that happened to me, because I ended up losing a whole bunch of weight. I used to be 240 pounds. And, it's nice. My wardrobe has gotten better, and got a little bit more confidence, and my health got better. But the diabetes had been so bad for so long. And, I really believe I had it since I was a kid, because a lot of the same symptoms, and it eventually caused a disease in my spine where my bones just deteriorate. And 3 surgeries later, and I'm getting worse again. But hey, you know what? I got to retire early. I mean, isn't that everybody's dream? And I get to podcast all the time.
Well, there you go. Silver lining and everything, isn't there?
Right. So what was your first step?
Well, my first step was changing the way I thought. So, I always thought things were happening to me. I had to look at things were happening for me. That was the main thing. My marriage was happening to me. Maybe it was actually happening for me. Maybe that was the catalyst for me to finally learn who I was, not as part of this dysfunctional marital unit, but who am I as a person? What do I stand for? What is important to me? So that's one instance. With my health, I could say things were happening to me. Maybe they were happening for me. Maybe that was the catalyst for me to learn about the human body. Maybe that was the catalyst for me to go, do you know what? This is how I want to feel every day. The fatigue, the constantly feeling unwell was happening to me. The happening for me was, this is showing me how much better my life is going to be when I get control of this. So that was a big thing for me. That was kind of the first thing, is change from things happening to me to things happening for me. I guess the next thing was for me to work out who I was. Like, what is important to me? I'm not just a mum. I'm not just a worker. I'm not just an ex-wife. I'm not just, a daughter. Who am I actually? Like, it sounds terrible, but on my gravestone, what do I want them to say? It's not beloved, mother and daughter and whatever. That doesn't matter to anyone walking past. They don't know. They see your headstone in a cemetery. They go, oh, well, everyone's a mother or a daughter or father or a son or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But what I'd love it to say is, this woman loved nature. She loved animals, and she did everything she could to be at one with them and to respect them and to learn from them. That's better than mother, daughter, we miss you so much. Like, get the violins out there. People want to know who you are in life and afterwards. And so when you present yourself, like, for example, at a networking thing, and someone says, what do you do? Oh, I do health. So what? What does that mean? You could say, well, what I do is I try and connect people back to nature by using things that come from the earth, that come from the plants, that are natural medicines, that are not synthetic. And I get a real buzz out of reducing toxicity in people. That's better than, oh yeah, I work in health. Right. So really defining who I was kind of the next thing, but not just for other people, for myself, because I'd really lost my sense of self. So that were kind of the first two huge steps that I had to take.
It's amazing when you're with someone and honestly, they're not the right person for you, because they don't really lift you up and help you to enjoy the things that you enjoy, and, vice versa. And then all of a sudden, it's, once it's gone, you have to go and discover who you are once again. And it took me almost 10 years. And now I have a happy marriage, and, okay, so I got a disease. I'm handicapped. It's a part of me, but it does not define who I am.
Exactly. And I think too many of us allow ourselves to be defined by our labels. Mm-hmm. And so, I really don't like labels of any kind, be it a diagnosis, be it like a pigeonhole that people want to put me in. That's not who I am. And who I am can change on a daily basis. Stuff that I'm into this week, maybe last week I thought, there's no way I'm going to even contemplate that. Or, maybe I've grown out of things. And we find this with friendship groups. I was talking to my kids the other day about, friends that we used to have in our life that aren't here anymore. And it's because we've grown as people. They've grown as people as well. Everyone changes. And so maybe we're just not a good fit. You don't need to keep the same circle of friends. You don't need to keep, the same people around you, because your vibe will change. And so you really have to go with that. And, I see it all the time, people that have got friends that they've had for 30 years. And then you go for coffee with someone, they're bitching about this friend. Well, okay, hang on. Are they still your friend? Yeah, they've been around for 30 years. Okay, maybe they're not the right person for you now because you haven't said a nice word about them. So, we really do have to learn that we adapt and we change, and that's okay.
Well, my circle definitely changed. I had friends, like you said, 30, I have some almost 40 years now, that they haven't changed. They still think they're teenagers and they can party all the time and, do whatever they want to do. And that's just not me anymore. I'm proud to say that I'm sober, and I got off the alcohol and the drugs because it was killing me. It was literally killing me. And, the things I enjoy to do, I'm like you. I like to go out and work in my vegetable garden. I don't get to do much, but what I can do, I'll do. And it makes me feel like I'm getting closer to God, like it's a spiritual experience almost, especially when you see something growing that you've planted and taken care of. It might sound goofy, but that's the way it feels.
Yeah, I definitely feel that too. When you sow, for example, a carrot, and you sow a seed, and for any of your listeners, carrot seeds are some of the tiniest seeds that you can get, and it's easy to put like 5 in one spot. But you sow a seed and then you watch it sprout, and it looks like every other seedling. It's got like these 2 leaves, and you can't really tell what it is till it's a little bit older as a seedling. And then it starts to give you like that carrot ferny leaf look. And then you put it into your veggie garden. And, then it starts to grow, and you can see the leaves, and they're getting tall, and they're proud, and they're reaching up to the sun. And then you see it start to actually pop out of the ground. You go, oh, there's a carrot there, and it's pushing itself up to be picked now. So you pick it and you pull it out, and it's got this beautiful bulbous root vegetable, and then some little hairy roots on the bottom of it. And you just think, do you know what? That was such a tiny seed like 3 months ago. And now it's on my table. Like, how cool. We
It's
really
definitely
have to
cool.
appreciate the small things.
Mm-hmm. And I spend a lot of time with my grandson, watching his goofy little shows, and playing Batman and Spider-Man and Hot Wheels and all that, and that brings me joy. And if you don't enjoy those moments, they'll disappear. I was like that with my kids, because I was either drunk or working or doing whatever I wanted to do, and I wasn't doing what they wanted to do. And now they're in their mid-20s, or my oldest is 30 years old now. And I lost all that, and I don't want to lose that with my grandkids. So we can't take that for granted. And the same thing with nature. We've got a lot of people moving in here into Texas, and there's beautiful land that all of a sudden they're building homes on. That it's very sad when you used to drive by and you see trees and you'd see the hills, and now you see all these homes. So
I totally hear you on that. I live in an area that used to be filled with kangaroos and wallabies and echidnas and wombats. And so, yes, I'm in Australia. And now it's all housing development. And I'm seeing the kangaroos, their numbers are dwindling, and they're getting pushed into small pockets and kind of trapped in, one paddock where there's now housing estates all around them. And that's quite heartbreaking, because they're going to die. I know they are, because they haven't got access to food. They can't travel. They're very social. Their social groups are getting smaller. Their gene pool is getting smaller. And, you have to really take a moment to respect what these animals can do, and maybe say the way that we're urban sprawling isn't good. We need these animals. They keep the grasslands healthy. They have a right to be here. How do we live alongside them without squeezing them out? And, I see this with a lot of different species of animals around us, and it's heartbreaking. I get we need housing, and I get there's more people on earth, and, all that kind of jazz, but we kind of have to be a bit more respectful and just go, we are not the only species here. And there's like a meme that I often put up on my Facebook, and it's like 2 pictures. One says ego, and it's like a pyramid with the human on top. And then the other side is eco, and it's a circle with the human in the middle. And, they're the 2 ways of living. And we really do have to look at, are we going to live in ego, or are we going to live in eco?
Oh, I can say that I can drive about 10 minutes from here, and there's a beautiful spot that I can go to the river, or just a little bit further, I can go to the lake. And they do maintain these around here. I'll give them that. I mean, the water is absolutely beautiful. so clear, a lot different from where I used to live, because where I used to live, there was nothing but refineries. And so I wouldn't jump in that water for nothing. But up here, oh my God, it's so beautiful. I remember when we first moved into this house, this rabbit would come into our yard and have babies in the yard.
That's cool.
It's so cool. And my wife when she works from home, she has an office right next to mine, and she keeps a bird feeder right outside the window. And so that if there's not any bird seed in there, she'll actually have birds come tap on the window until she goes out there with the seeds.
And that's a great cat TV, having a bird feeder outside the window.
Oh my God, the cats come in here and they just sit in the window with their jaws popping. I love it.
So I have a native garden in my backyard, and my cats love to sit at the door and just watch all the honey eaters come and feed on the flowers. And at the moment we have a bird called wattlebird, and they're quite a large native bird, and they have like a red wattle on their neck. And they're coming and they're raiding the flowers. And so the cats are just sitting there like, yeah, this is so cool.
I love it when the squirrels come up to the window, because they'll tease the cats. They know the cats can't get to them, so they'll just kind of sit there and stare at them while the cats are trying to get at them. It's so funny. But I also started planting flowers out there that would attract bees and different birds, so we could get it pollinated a lot better. And
I love that. I have like tufts of wildflowers, and they're medicinal as well. So I have calendula out there, which has a big bright orange flower, and that's really great for your immunity. And so that's bringing bees in. And then just even yesterday I picked some calendula flowers to make like an oat bar with. And it's like, wow, this is not just beautiful, but it's helping the pollinators, and I get to use it. Like, this is cool.
So what else do you do with I'm assuming this is your business?
Yep. So with Wholistic Natural Health Australia, what we actually do is we look at root cause. So not what you're sick with now, but what started it, and we treat that. So it's really based on terrain theory, on cleaning the terrain, which is your body, and supporting that terrain so that it can fight off a pathogen or whatever is coming, a parasite, whatever is attacking you, causing illness. So yeah, we really look at root cause and try and turn it around. And sometimes that root cause can be an adverse childhood experience, or maybe it's some other form of trauma. These things change the way our body react to things. So yeah, we don't chase symptoms, as I mentioned. It's just like going to be chasing your tail forever. We look at the root cause, and we have a lot of success with our clients all around the world. The craziness that's happened the past few years in the world, we've actually gone fully remote. So we closed our clinics and just went, you know what, we can reach more people worldwide by Zoom. So that's exactly what we do now.
It is quite a bit of a change. Do you still have those people that just say, I can't do this anymore, and they go back to what they were doing?
Yeah, we have some people that invest their time and their money to work with us, and then they go, yeah, do you know what, it was working, but I kind of need something else. And that's okay. We're really brought up on the doctor says model. Like, we say something and then the doctor says do this, and some people really struggle with leaving that paradigm, and that's okay. Everyone has a choice, and everyone can do their own thing. And we work with the people that want to stay with our root cause model and our terrain theory model. And so that's okay. But, we accept people from all walks of life. And we have people coming to us now that are suffering from something that they had to do the past couple of years, and it's causing problems. And you know what? We don't turn them away. Just because they did something that the doctor said to do, and now that's caused problems. We're not going to go, well, that's your problem, you did that, you know. So we're going to go, look, everyone's welcome, and we're happy to work with you because we want you to be well. And, you know, we have some people that come to us and they're working with a naturopath, and they're working with a doctor, and they're working with a specialist. Now they want to work with us, and we go, okay, that's fine. We can work with you, but we're going to have some limited success here. As long as you understand that, we will give our very best. We will do our very best for you. But because all this other stuff's going on, we can't say, you know, this is how it's going to play. And so, look, we do have clients where we need to work alongside specialists and other doctors and naturopaths and whatever, and that's okay. Everyone has a choice.
Well, I was diehard. I mean, I ate right for years, and all of a sudden one day, I drove by a donut shop, and I'm like, you know what? One cinnamon roll is not going to kill me. So I went and got the cinnamon roll, and I'm going to tell you what, these were to die for. And before I knew it, I was making it a habit. And now I'm like, okay, I've got to get back on track again. So I'm already starting to feel bad. So I've determined that I'm going to get back on track. So I come
And
to
you know,
you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
we all have these little slip ups, you know, and we all have these moments of, do you know what? I just want those potato chips, or I just want that cinnamon roll. And that's okay. It's recognizing that that's now, and what we do tomorrow matters. And as you said, you've pulled yourself up on it. It's not like we have to live like monks. You know, we don't all have to be like, my body is my temple every second of every day. That's not sustainable. And so what my team do with the clients is we say, look, above all else, we're ethical and we're sustainable. We're not going to say you need to do this now, and by the way, this is what you need to do for the rest of your life, because we know that's not going to happen. You know, we know you're still going to want to go out, and you're still going to want to have a drink here or there, or you're going to want to have a cinnamon roll, or whatever it is, or you're going to want to spend 3 days watching Netflix. That's okay, because what you do has to be sustainable. So, you know, we have clients come and say, oh, I couldn't do the elimination diet. Okay, well, it's 2 weeks. It's not forever. And they'll say, no, I thought I had to do this forever. No. This is just to give you a reset, you know, just to give your body a break, because it's not sustainable to be doing it forever.
Now, someone like me comes to you, and I mean, quite honestly, my life is pretty much sedentary. I can't do a lot of walking. It causes me a lot of pain. What would you be able to do for me?
Heaps. Heaps. So we can really look at how your body works. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do chair-based, movement-wise, you know, and it could just be really small stuff. And, you know, movement isn't the biggest key in what we do with our clients, but we can advise you. There is some small stuff that you can do that's chair-based. There's some stuff that you can do before you get out of bed that won't exacerbate a back condition, or, you know, that won't cause you more pain later. And so for everyone, everything can be, you know, modified and changed. I mean, we have a couple of people that have worked with us that have been in wheelchairs, and, you know, they feel nothing from the waist down. Okay, but we can still move our arms. So we're still going to do something like that. But, you know, the main thing is that what you're doing makes you feel better. We don't want to make you feel worse.
Heard that. Well, I tell you, here lately, the nerve damage has been pretty bad. So I twitch sometimes, and osteoarthritis has gotten into my hands, where it's starting to go, my fingers are going crooked, and those things are growing on the side of my knuckles.
Yeah.
Is there a way to at least slow that down, or even stop that?
There is. So we need to look again at root cause. What is arthritis? It's inflammation. What is causing that inflammation? And we only know by doing like a really thorough intake. So for example, our root cause analysis comes with a 33-page intake form. And, you know, we have people say, 33 pages. Like, this is a thesis. Yeah, it is, because we need to see from your history what is happening for you. There's, hundreds of causes of osteoarthritis, but we need to know what yours is. So we go through this intake and we'll find what is causing that inflammation. And that's what we go after. And any inflammation will calm down as we're going after the root cause. So there isn't a one size fits all kind of program for anyone. It is very individualized, and that's what's important.
Well, I think it's really important for people to know that there's hope out there, because I mean, let's face it, people get stuff like what I have all the time, and they feel like life is over and they give up. We get pumped full of meds all the time.
That's right.
I mean, they were giving me all these opioids to take, and I went to my doctor and said, look, I have a very addictive personality, and it's very easy for me to get hooked on this stuff. And it doesn't make me feel good. It's not helping the problem. I need to do something else. Well, they've tried a few things, and it's alleviated some of it, but it's just getting worse. But they did give me something that it's actually like a methadone to get you off of opioids.
Yeah.
And it's for pain. So, and it works very well. But just like everything else, my body gets used to it. It doesn't work so well anymore. I got to figure out something.
Exactly. So the body, above all else, wants you to be safe. So it's going to keep adapting. And when we just keep pumping ourselves full of meds, or we take alcohol to numb how we're feeling, or whatever that addictive substance is, we're not addressing what the problem is. We're just covering it up. And then, like you said, with your body, it's kind of getting used to those opioids. And so it's adapting because it's trying to keep you safe. It's not fixing, or it's not addressing the root cause. What it's now addressing is the things that opioids are doing. So the root cause is still there. So, you keep reaching these plateaus with meds, but the problem is still there, and it's still alive and kicking. And unfortunately, it's kicking you. So, this is why this root cause analysis is just so important. And, whether people want to work with the team here or not, you need to ask yourself what started this, and has that situation resolved? And if not, why not? What am I going to do about it?
Yeah, I got to figure out something, because I mean, like I said, for years, I was eating right and I was exercising and doing all these things. And then all of a sudden this hit me. I'm like, why? But what, can you talk about like the client that's come to you that has been like the worst case ever, that has had a success story?
I can actually. Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I actually had a client come to me about 3 years ago, and this lady was big, like big lady, and I knew automatically what it was. And so, I did the intake and had a bit of a chat with her, and she had some lymphatic conditions that were really stopping her from living her life. And, this was affecting all the systems of her body as well. So your lymphatic system, for your listeners, takes waste out. When it can't do that, waste keeps circulating like in a continuous loop. So it was affecting every part of her life. And so I told her what I thought her diagnosis was. And she said, I thought that I've been like Googling stuff like that. And, I've been dismissed by my doctors. They told me just to eat less, move more. I'm just getting fat because I'm lazy, and, all this kind of thing. And she really wasn't lazy. She, was going to a lot of sports and trying to move this gigantic body around and causing more damage. So you know, 3 years on now, after working with her, she now has her own lymphatic clinic because she understands what's going on, and she's helping other people. And, you know, I've linked her up with a surgeon who can help with her particular condition, and I've worked in conjunction with them. I've gone to visits at the surgery with her as her support network, and now she's loving life and she's living life, and she's literally half the person that she was when I met her.
Wow.
And yeah, she's just kicking goals, and she's getting into the more functional medicine side like I do. And yeah, you know, hats off to her. She put the work in, and I was just there as the support. And, you know, when I came to this lady and I met her first, she was really at the end of the road. Like, she had had enough of being blamed for her condition. She had had enough of being put down. Her own family were putting her down for the condition, you know, poking her legs, going, oh, they're pretty big, they're pretty fat, like no one actually helping her. And I look at where she is now, and we're very good friends still, and, you know, kicking goals in every area of life. So I look at how she started with me, and I look at now, worlds apart.
Wow. That would the gallbladder have anything to do with that?
Look, in her case, it didn't. It can do. It doesn't always. She did have some liver dysfunction, so her liver wasn't able to clear anything properly. So, you know, that's one step up from your gallbladder. There was a lot going on, but her main issues were immune dysfunction. And of course, then that led to toxicity. The liver started giving up on what it was supposed to do, and then the lymphatics picked it all up. So yeah, big case. But I look at this lady now, and she inspires me every day. Like, you know, I see her posts and I'm like, oh my God, this is great. You know, so yeah, brilliant.
That's awesome. You know, we need to hear more success stories like that. And
Yeah.
maybe people will catch on and say, hey, maybe that's what's wrong with me. At least give it a shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
It sucks.
Look, chronic disease does suck. And, you know, one of my team members, she makes reels for my social media. And just so everyone knows, I don't do that. She does it. And she did one not long ago with some boxing gloves, like coming and hitting her. And she's like, this is what chronic illness feels like. And I watched it and nearly wet my pants laughing. But it's, you know, because it was funny and the music was great. But it's true. That's what chronic illness really does feel like. And, it, you know, you just get over something, it's like, whack, here comes another shot, you know. So, yeah, for everyone out there dealing with chronic illness, it's not a linear experience at all. Like, it's not a flat, straight line. It's kind of got, you know, these peaks and troughs and valleys. And yeah, boxing glove comes and hits you in the face, and you get up off the floor from that, and then another one comes and hits you. That's the way it is. But behind all of that, you know, in all seriousness, there is a root cause, and that's what we need to go after.
It sucks when you have to go get your liver and your kidneys checked every 3 months.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get the metformin and all these other pills for your diabetes and high blood pressure and high cholesterol. And it does a toll on your liver.
It does. And these things are toxic. They're synthetic. So yes, they have their place short term. I'm not going to say that you should never be on meds. All right. No matter how much I would like to say that, I'm not going to say that.
Right.
But you've really got to look at, these things are synthetic. They are made of toxins. They are not meant to be in your body. So long term, and I have people come to me and, you know, on the intake form, they've been on an antacid for 20 years. Long term, what is actually happening is not only are you building up your toxicity, but you're switching off the natural functions in your body that do that mechanism of action. So every medication has a mechanism of action, and that is how it works and what it's supposed to do. Okay. but your body has mechanisms of action as well. And so what happens is your body goes, oh, an antacid for 20 years. All right, now I'm not going to make hydrochloric acid at all. So then you can't digest anything properly, right? And I'm taking leaps and bounds here to shorten the mechanism of action. But, you know, when we take these things, our body goes, oh, I don't need to do that anymore. Great, I'll shut down that function. And so, you know, it can cause more damage. So you really have to look at particularly medications as a short-term thing. You know, you may need them today, but do you want to be on them in 20 years?
Well, I have to stress, and it's just because you know how all these platforms are. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
And, you know, I can tell you what I've done and what's worked for me, because I have gotten off of some of these medications. I mean, there's still a few that I'm still taking and I need to work a little harder on, but there's hope. We shouldn't have to. I mean, I started out on insulin and then it went to metformin, and then they half the dosage on the metformin because I was eating right and trying to get out there and get the exercise. And I mean, it can happen. I know people that have gotten off these medications and they're a lot happier that they don't have to go to the pharmacy once a month or once every 3 months, you know?
That's right.
So what's your website?
So the website is www.wholisticnaturalhealth.com.au. So we're based in Australia, and it's holistic with a W because we treat with holism. The body is a whole. We don't use the reductionism theory, which is treat this one thing and then life will be okay. We look at holism. So it's wholisticnaturalhealth.com.au.
And you help with diet and exercise and all that.
Yeah, everything. We give you ways to get things changed and, you know, moved around in your protocol and, you know, whatever suits you. So like I said, there's no one size fits all.
And I'm so happy that you're doing stuff like that. And I hope that we get some people that'll try it and, you know, maybe get off all these medications, change your life for the better. And don't think that a sedentary lifestyle, eating whatever you want, is okay, because it's not okay.
Exactly. It's okay as a treat.
Yes.
But, you know, you do have to show your body and yourself some respect. And I think, you know, out of my own journey, that's the one thing I learned, that those potato chips that I was craving all the time, every time I ate them, I wasn't respecting myself. So, you know, you have to kind of draw the line somewhere.
Were you like me and get just about all the way through the bag, if not the whole bag, in one sitting?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I get down to the last crumbs in the bag and then I start to feel sick. It's like, what? You know, now if I eat a potato chip, it's 2 chips and then I feel sick. It's like, all right, that was nice, not now.
My God, the stories I could tell. But thank you so much. What is your social media?
So on Facebook, we're at Wholistic Natural Health Australia, and on Instagram, Wholistic Natural Health, again, all with a W at the start.
I want to make sure that I get that in the description so people can click on it and go straight to it. And thank you for what you do. And
thank you for what you're doing.
Oh, I appreciate that. And continue to do so. I wish all the success for you and your group. And, you know, I have to thank my audience too, because they come here and they make this possible for me to do all the time. Those folks that come by for the first time, I appreciate them too. And I hope y'all will come back. Please hit that subscribe button. And please take care of yourself. Be kind to each other. And as always, God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network